All right, traders. Hey, welcome on back here this Monday afternoon. Great to see a lot of us just still with us here inside our live trading room here. Leda, got Margaret, saw Dave just a moment ago. We got Phil here joining us. Tim just chatting with before on a few different trades actually. Farzad, Uday, great to have all of us here. So great. And again, if you're joining us on Facebook Live, LinkedIn, all of our social feeds here, at least down below, lower left. At Cyber Trading U, just make sure to hit the follow, subscribe button. We do this live every morning, every afternoon. Live workshop we did earlier today as well. But we got to move quick because we are in a pretty good market to work with heading into the close. Some trades we just called out a moment ago that are popping. A couple trades we're waiting on patiently to see the break of resistance. But otherwise, I mean, hey, this is actually on the screen here to begin. The QURE. This is more of a category 5 stock, though, just given the pop that it had from Thursday last week or whenever that was, Wednesday, Thursday last week. I got a long story on this trade, but to keep things concise here in this meeting, I took most of my trade out from the end of last week, and I just got very, very tiny size left, like 50 shares. So that's like really not big for a $58 stock. But listen, this thing's got a bad order book. You really shouldn't be trading this on large size to begin with. It's a relatively no-name type of company. I know they had some great news that came out with Huntington's disease, but this is just another one of those pharma stocks, folks, right? So just play it intelligently, and at least for now, I have some shares left. If anyone's still in on this from last week, you must be doing pretty nice as well. But it's pushing back on up towards the highs today. It actually just broke a new HOD a moment ago. I'll put this on our watch list just to begin. There's going to be others, though, I'll prioritize just a lot more. I'll add it. Probably be the last stock on our watch list, if anything. If you want to try and trade this on 100 shares, go more than ahead, but you just got to know where your levels are first. And with that, I'll try and bring this into the fold here. Give me a moment. Let's see. How did I do this last time? I totally even forgot. Yeah, it had to have been from here, right? Was it the down or was it the up? I think it was the up. Let's try and look at this from last week. Having you run around here with me, but take a look. Let's see if we can get this straight. We'll even go from here. 2, 3. Maybe I went back on this candle first. Yeah, that looks like what we had, pretty similar to the end of last week. We had these fib extension levels, in terms of predicting, anticipating, projecting price targets. So it actually broke above the 100% extension line, 57 and change. Kind of flipped it into support a bit and trying to push off of it right now. If this really wants to keep going, I would love to see it go up towards 63, maybe as high as 66 there. Those are just potential targets. There's going to be other trades that are easier, though, for us. Stocks that have a penny spread that aren't like going to the casino and like throwing it all down on red or black, either way. That's kind of what this feels like looking at the order book, looking at how empty this is. So I'll add it to our list, but there's just trades that are more well-known, larger cap, larger liquidity that are just easier to trade. This is not. This is not what I was trying to look for just there. So we'll go from top to bottom here, but this is like a casino stock if I've ever seen one. So Wolfspeed, this, I guess, had some news with their float and they're adding more to it. Normally that would tank a stock. I got to look into the finer details to like why this moved up so much in terms of like what TradeStation shows here. I don't think this is real, though. I don't think that like, oh, if you bought it like $1.50, you're up 1,000%. It's not one of those. I think it's kind of like a glitch internalized on the platform. There's some news that came out with their float, so I got to look more into it, but we're not going to trade the stock. We did trade this stock earlier today, BQ, not to be mistaken with EQ. I got bad hearing. I heard Fausto say that. I thought he kept saying EQ. No, BQ. This thing pushed up beautifully earlier on today. We'd called it out early. I mean, he was on top of this going into 10 o'clock in the morning, just only exploded up higher afterwards. A lot of our students, I know he got in right around like $5 or $6, I think it was around. Listen, you don't need to get out at the very top to make money, right? This wasn't on our morning watch list. It wasn't moving in pre-market. So to have this just kind of pop up out of thin air, and if you jump in and jump out with profit, I mean, as long as it's not like 1 or 2 pennies on the dollar, right? No, but if you get out at 9 and pops up to 14, don't be more upset about leaving money on the table than you were about taking money off the table. You know what I mean? Like, kind of goes back to my whole dinner theory where, like, if you go to a steakhouse and you order this nice, juicy steak, this big dinner, and you eat three-quarters of it or half of it, and you're like, oh, wow, that it tasted so good. Are you actually more upset about leaving the quarter or the half left on the plate than you were about the meal you just digested? Think of it that way. It's just like psychology 101. So don't be upset about leaving money on the table. Look what happened to this thing afterwards. Completely crashed back down. So it was just a flavor of the day type of trade, flavor of the hour type of trade. That's it. This probably is too. I still have half my position left on this, and I got lucky from pre-market. I went over this in our workshop earlier today. So there was some speculation with CBD stocks, cannabis stocks making a move up today. We did well on some of the cannabis stocks, but this YCBD. So I didn't really explain too much about this part that I'm about to share. I know this stock because like years back, it had to have been more than this. Yeah. Probably back in 2020 or something, or 2021, like the most recent time there was some sort of regulation with federal pot, whatever. I thought this was going to run and it didn't make that continued move, fell back down. So, you learn the hard way, right? And that's where, at least with the news that came out overnight or speculation of news coming out, I figured there was a chance. I didn't know if it would definitely make this pop, so I got lucky when this took off after the open. But even if you'd missed it from there, from like 80 cents, 75 cents, I'm in from right now, right there. You could see this held support beautifully off a level that we spoke highly about in our workshop. And now at this stage, it's trying to creep back above chart support that we had from earlier today. So there might be one last leg on this thing. I'll come back to it at the end of the meeting. I want to see if there's stocks that are making a better run for the afternoon that are at the highs. ENTA, obviously speaking about there. This actually kind of flew under the radar, kind of moved up going into the, well, I guess after the open. This was down to begin, right? This was on the losers list here to begin the day. Looks like it popped on Friday afternoon, and then totally dumped off at 6:30 in the morning. This was on the loser side. We had no affiliation with this trade at all today. And rightfully so. We did much better on other stocks, but kind of crazy. This thing up, then down, then back up. It's up 79% as we're talking. It's hard to ignore now. I'll kind of add it alongside the QURE trade. I want to see if there's just stocks that are more liquid, have better liquidity, that are making as good of a move. I said that are making as good of a move. Not this. Let's find something that's making as good of a move. Tilray, right away there. That's the pot stock we'd focused on earlier today. You got Aurora Cannabis here. That one we do pretty nicely on as well. This is like watching the grass grow. Not interested in the stock today. I'll probably be interested in the stock like tomorrow or some point this week. But for right now, hey, Tilray. Hey, for right now, the ACB stock, Aurora, that one was. And at this point, you know what? Why not? I'll add that YCBD trade. So I'll add those three there to our list now at this point. So, I'd rather us focus on those to begin. I think there's also the ETFs. MSOX is a pot ETF. Hold on. Yeah. Yeah. You know what's so funny? Oh my God, my dyslexia is kicking in right now. I'm thinking of like SOX S, SOXS. I'm like, wait, is that the? No. MSOX. This is a pot stock ETF. This one is also MSOS. I'll just kind of add one of them. Don't need to add every little pot stock there. But we'll add the ETF for right now. EKKT, hey, pushing back to the highs right now, higher lows. Got an ugly order book. So again, another stock like the QURE, don't be trading too big size on this thing. It's going up, so it's hard to ignore. I'll add it to our list on the back side of it. But let's see if there's anything, again, more well-known, trading more volume. We want better liquidity. Not getting much of that. Again, the ACB was probably our like most tradable stock going into the afternoon so far. Great order book. It's moving with the news and the hype of the pot stocks and the CBD stuff. So you don't need to like what's going on with all that stuff if you're not a fan of like pot, cannabis, whatever. Hey, to each their own. But I wouldn't say this is much to each their own. This is pretty straightforward. Whether you like it or not, this is going up. So I like this trade, especially since it has a good order book. Oh, this is another one too, I guess. Another one I kind of found GRWG. And it's at the highs. Again, don't need to put every single one of those pot stocks on our list. Oh, I guess I ran into this right now. A little delayed. Get it? Where is it? The GRWG. Hey, get it at the highs. All right. All right. I'm done before I get the tomatoes thrown at me. So it's not only the pot stocks that are going up, but you also got the Bitcoin stocks. CLSK with another big run this morning. Mara was doing good just up until a moment ago. It's still holding a higher low. Could add those to our list, especially the Mara. Coinbase, this is an ETF for Coinbase. So Coinbase here pretty much doing pretty good. Navita's going back up, actually. You know what? This trade, NVTS, this is not a part of either of those sectors. And that's where I'd rather us focus on like stocks kind of moving on their own accord, even if it's not a sector based move. So NVTS, it's tradable. It's going back up to the highs, or at least it was until this candle. So, you know what? Unless if this is a full fledged reversal, I like this stock. It's tradable, good volume on the order book. EOS, absolutely. We've been a big fan of this stock since it was around like $758. And we were even a little late to the party here. People earlier from this year, the end of last year, starting to load into this trade. This stock is a U.S. energy storage based company. So EOSC getting a lot of attention of late on social media with good reason. There's a person I'm like quote unquote friendly with on Twitter. He's been hyping it up for a little while since like 5 or 6. I know he's doing really nice on his like option calls, but there's plenty of more room left on this trade. It seems. Yes, put this number one on our watch list for right now. All right, what else we got here, folks? Maps, RCT, Riot has been also a really strong trade looking long term. And I just mean that back from like July, August, September this year. We're approaching resistance back from 23. So pretty interesting move here, even if you're not holding on to Riot right now as a swing. This broke above local resistance from 24, coming up to 23 highs here. Pretty interesting long-term graph, I really got to say. It'll take time for it to build out. It's not going to be so immediate. I don't believe, at least. If I'm wrong with that, so be it. But you can't argue with that long-term graph. So you know what? I will add the Riot. That one I'd probably like more than Mara. Mara, I don't think has as good of a graph yet. This thing is still really weak. 24, just straight downtrend there. Look at that compared to Riot. This is definitely outperforming over the last several months. So I'd rather us focus on that one. Galaxy, I think that's another crypto stock, digital asset stock. That's at the highs right now, too. Robinhood, easily enough, I'll add Robinhood, and I may as well add Coinbase to our watch list as well. Is this a Solana ETF? It is. Oh my God, it's too funny. 2x Solana ETF, really? It's been around for a little bit. Look at these crazy gaps. That's why I wouldn't want to mess around with this thing as a swing, because the crypto market's 24/7, so you'll see gaps on Bitcoin, but the alt market's like even more volatile, the altcoin market. So there's a lot that's moving here that's up, likely from Bitcoin, likely from, like we were saying just before, the pot stocks. If there's anything kind of like making its own move outside of those sectors, that's what I'd rather focus on, actually. Iron kind of going up, like I said, with Bitcoin and stuff, but Iron's kind of doing its own thing too. This has just been an incredible swing based off of nuclear and AI data centers for a while. I'll at least add Iron. All right. We've built ourselves up a pretty damn big watch list already here, folks. So I tell you, there's really not a giant necessity to add another 5 or 10 to our list. But again, it seems like there's a few others that are showing some good signs of life. SBET, kind of hard to ignore. And Tiger, maybe overnight. I think this is an Asian market stock, if not China, maybe Singapore. But this has a pretty healthy long-term graph, if not mistaken. Just higher lows. So something to consider maybe. But on a day like today, we already have so much on our list, actually. So let's hop over to the loser side here. See if there's anything looking just as good as a short. I'll make room for a short or two, or I don't know, maybe a stock down 90%. Is this the second stock today that's down 90%? Give me a sec here. I thought there was a stock earlier today, guys, that was down like 90+%. No? Didn't Fausto call out some trade that was down like a ton? Albert, you said Kala? Yeah, Kala. Look at these things. Down 88%. This was down 93 at one point this morning. We're not really trading these stocks. I mean, this thing at least, it just keeps on going down and it's down 90%, but it still has technically another $6 a share to go. Look at this gap. Oh, when that gets filled, or when that even attempts to get filled. There's some good long-term support on this thing all the way down at 4. So yeah, there is no thought behind trying to look for any sort of move here. Resistance, support lined up there. It's in the middle of no man's land. All right, let's refilter this by volume. Oh shit. The LAC trade dropped all the way down towards 5s, huh? We were talking about this move for a little bit, and actually I want it lower. I want to see if this could drop down towards 450 in due time. So I'm not saying this is a short today, but I'm just saying be patient. You'll probably get a decent enough support to build on the LAC trade over time. And otherwise, what else we got here, folks? Upstart. I don't have a need to put this on our main list. Kava's getting beat up here today. It's been getting beat up for a little while now, no? Yeah. Support there. Kind of support off this low, but I'd also combine it with this. You might get a bounce on Kava over time if it could build off of these two lines here, but I'm not really that interested in it today. Maybe it's something to think about over time. Coles, that's down enough where it possibly could be a short. Nothing really I'm drooling over here from the loser side, though, right now. Cole's still just kind of dangling off support here pretty much, and if it breaks below this, then you're definitely talking as far as a true drop, but even this, like, not a necessity to add this to our main list for right now. The Oscar trade is going up. So, Tim, I know we were talking about that before. I had a pretty good feel on some trades, but it's a matter of seeing resistance get broken over. At least here on the Oscar, this just ended up breaking above the local highs and then ran up over 19. So it's almost up 5%, but one that we had our eyes on just before this meeting started. I don't mind adding Oscar. This is not a great swing trade yet, but who knows? Maybe it will have its day in the sun here, or maybe it's weak in the sun, break out much higher here over time. The other one was Hims. Oh my God, are you kidding me? We didn't do this yet? We almost nailed it, though. We're just waiting on the break over 60-50 on Hims. I'm not going to add this to our main watch list, but just, for all of our students, know that I'm going to put this on my personal list here. It's on my personal side list. I have an entry to buy if this breaks over 60-50. But, it's not up that 5+%. There's obviously a lot more on our watch list that I'd rather steer us towards, myself or Rich, as either of us jump back on the mic this afternoon. But let's see. Anything else here, folks, before we wrap up? Leda, shout out as always. Kank, great to have you here as always as well recently. Umit from Turkey. There we go. Suppose ABAT going anywhere. You know what? Yeah, I forgot about that stock. That's one of those American battery. What's the name of the company? When we were talking about F-Cell and Plug, those were moving really well last week. The ABAT is still moving though. So I like this call out a lot, Lita. And at that, there's just so much out there and a lot that we already have on our list here, folks. I think that wraps it up. Even if there's things that are looking good, this one kind of locks it up for us here, folks. There's our watch list. I just posted it right away to our students and members like Leda, Albert, Margaret, John, etc. I'll write back to a couple of our students here in just a moment on the side. But, hey, folks, best of luck trading going into the market close here today. There's a lot to digest here to begin. I will say right out the gate from the watch list that I'm posting here to you, frog in my throat. Start off with just a couple of these. Start off with just two. Start off with just 2 or 3 of these, and do it based on your personal price, criteria. If you prefer trading a stock like a Robinhood, a Coinbase, etc., start with those personally, right? If there is a stock that you prefer, let's say NVTS or the pot stocks, they're more within your price range, then don't let the others be noise. But we are building a watch list that is catering not just to you, It's catering to a variety of different traders that come in with, experience, but some might also be more new. So that's where I say if you're someone that is a more profitable day trader coming into our style of trading, hey, then less is more, right? You know that. So don't go through every one of these stocks immediately. Start with just a couple that look the best, that look best by your eye. But that's where I just say from the watch list that we post, well, we're going to start and stick with this at the minimum. We'll kind of scan through as we continue later on around 3:30 in the afternoon. We'll probably take a few of these off of our quote unquote list. We'll probably stop talking about a couple of them as they may look to go the other way. And at that stage, at that point, then we'll try and toss a couple more into the fold that might be moving otherwise. But we teach this in our classes, and then otherwise, I teach this in our one-on-one coaching program, which is really just as a supplementary, tool towards the program, towards the actual classes that we provide. So just addressing that, because we've had a couple of students, not just one, we've had a couple of students at least message me or speak to me over, a coaching call and discuss me about certain concerns or feedback at least. So that's where we do suggest, hey, here, less is more. Start with this list, but just focus on a group of 2 or 3 yourself. And then we'll be back on the mic going into 3:00, 3:05 Eastern at least. And hey, I'm just saying it myself, but we'll do the same thing here. We'll focus on our list and then we'll kind of eliminate a couple, process by elimination, and we'll go from there. All right, folks. But hey, if you're on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, etc., break out my Willy Wonka there for a moment. But otherwise, down below, lower left at Cyber Trading You, just be a friend, tell a friend. Look to hit the follow and subscribe buttons down below if you are not doing such just yet. We're live every day, every weekday that ends in Y at least. So we'll be back bright and early tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock Eastern, and we'll go from there, folks. All right, I'll talk to you all soon. Take care.